Yo guys, this was an incredible interview. You don't even understand. 7.5 hours long. I'm going to break down some really awesome points I saw and I heard in this video. Let's get right to it. And of course, on top of that, I'm going to be throwing in some Kaspa price analysis because I do that every single video. I summed this up from what he was saying. There's a 5-month timeline for Kaspa. 5-month timeline to implement a ZK proof verifier on Kaspa L1. Now, this is wild because this will allow everything for decentralized atomic composability. Okay, and this goes into the vProgs, the skeleton of vProgs. All right, what's vProgs all about? Basically, the name comes from programs, which is on Solana. But this is nothing like programs on Solana, which is like the smart contracts on Solana. vProgs on Kaspa is one of a kind, and it is only on Kaspa. vProgs is the brainchild of Yonatan Sompolisnky, okay? Call him Satoshi or whatever, but Yonatan, he's the GOAT. He's more GOAT than Satoshi. But anyways, vProgs create a similar SDK, which is like a software development kit experience as on Solana, just with the help of some metadata and the transactions, while writing code in Rust. You know, Rust is extremely, you can basically run code really, really fast on Rust so it can be at the speed that Kaspa needs. Now, this is going to be different than Solana, than the Solana programs, because these Kaspa programs will be atomically composable across different VMs, virtual machines, unlike on Solana. So what does this mean? It means Kaspa would enable trustless and interoperable ZK VMs, zero knowledge proof virtual machines. Basically, like virtual machines are, you know, EVM, Ethereum virtual machine. Solana has its own VM. There's all these different VMs. Even Ethereum wants to make that risk zero or whatever, you know, there's a lot of different virtual machines that code, that crypto, programmable crypto can be run on. But every single virtual machine is like its own little world. And that's how Solana operates. Its own little virtual machine is just that little world within Solana. But Kaspa with vProgs is going to be able to access all these different worlds in just the same exact environment, all within Kaspa. This is huge, absolutely massive. You don't even understand how big this is because this is taking the security of Bitcoin with the user and developer experience of Solana. Okay, Solana is incredible for what it is. I mean, it's adoption with Solana. Everyone's there, honestly, because it has that user experience and developer experience. It's very user and developer friendly, but you know, it doesn't have that fractured environment that Ethereum has with all of its rollups and all that. So that's the good thing about Solana, except Solana, first off, it's not as scalable as Kaspa, even as proof of stake. As proof of stake, it's not as secure as proof of work. It's inherently much less secure than proof of work, like Kaspa and Bitcoin. The Byzantine fault tolerance of Kaspa and Bitcoin, it's secure up to 49%. You know, it needs a 51% attacker, 51% of the hash rate to actually deal damage. Proof of work is where security is. And having the tech stack basically similar to Solana, but even not just similar, but so much more superior, where it can take the best of Solana, best of Ethereum, best of all these different virtual machines, put it on Kaspa. You're going to get developer adoption and user adoption like none other. It's just basically inevitable. And I quote Yonatan when he says this, he doesn't see a world where Bitcoin is adopted that Kaspa is not also adopted. Like, he doesn't see a world where Bitcoin is being used that Kaspa is not, like, hand in hand with it. Man, there were so many interesting talking points that Yonatan was going through. I'm going to have to make, like, probably another video covering this. So, vProgs yellow paper, okay? This is basically one step before the official research paper. This is end of August, soft deadline. Massive. Yellow paper. This is going to be in all the details of vProgs. So, I touched on it right now. When I said that information about vProgs, I mean, that's going into stuff that, you know, Yonatan himself was saying. Yonatan was also going into Aave about a lending protocol. Okay, there's going to be various lending protocols on Kaspa, Cascade, Fervent, Casper.com. These are going to be lending protocols. So basically, think of them like banks, honestly, like banks, but in the sense that this is not imaginary, hyper leveraged digital cash that doesn't even exist. You know, that's what banks do currently. You deposit $100 and the bank takes $90 and lends it out. So now your money in there just doesn't exist. And that $90 in your bank account, like $100, it's imaginary money. But this, with lending protocols, you provide the collateral. So there is risk because, you know, if your collateral loses its value, then you're going to be defaulted on the collateral. So there's a risk, but that's, I mean, honestly, that's effectively what investing is all about. This is how big investments push for development. This is how banks push for development. This is how countries grow off of debt. This is extremely healthy, structured debt through this collateral. Yonatan was saying, I know some whales, some people that have been accumulating Kaspa, like a ton of Kaspa. This is going to be perfect for them. And I know this is going to be able to facilitate a lot more investment from them. Like, he knows that personally. I don't know if he's talking about himself, about some buddies of his, but maybe even Satoshi himself, you know what I mean? That's crazy. Yonatan was just spitting flames, especially toward the ends of the interview when things got really interesting. Because at the start, going to be honest, I was like, for real, man, you're asking these questions? But toward the end, a lot of the questions were coming directly from the community members. So of course they're going to be fire. I mean, the community members know what's up. They know what to ask. So I mean, that's why I asked about the privacy chain, because I actually had a question on that. Man, my favorite part of the whole video, I just got to play it, okay? I just got to play it.
Scape says, without archival nodes, does that make Kaspa a privacy chain? I don't see any issue with this, since there will always be someone who wants to view and maintain the majority of transaction history, but it's an interesting theoretical point to make while on this topic.
All right, that's my question. This answer.
Hire him for marketing.
You don't even understand. When I heard this, oh my gosh. When I heard this, I screamed. I shouted. I was like, oh my. I scared my wife so bad. He's laughing.
Because it's unrealistic, right?
No, it's a great talking point. Let's take the lemon and turn it into a lemonade.
Turn that lemon into lemonade. Oh my word.
It's like we spoke about Mimblewimble, right? If you want to achieve real privacy, it can't be based on the assumption that there's no one listening to all transactions and recording them, especially if in the case of Kaspa, that you are broadcasting them all the time. So no. You can't make me say this talking point, but I'm all power for you for these creative proposals.
I salute you, Satoshi. I mean, sorry, Yonatan. I salute you, man. That's awesome, because what he's basically saying, yeah, yes, technically, theoretically, Kaspa could be a privacy chain without archival nodes. If there's no archival nodes, it's a privacy chain. Okay, archival node is just so funny when Kaspa and Bitcoin maxis say, oh my gosh, the fact of archival nodes there's not so many of them, makes it not decentralized. Like, they don't know what they're talking about. Kaspa does not need archival nodes. Literally, the whole point of an archival node is so you can view the transactions on like an explorer, a blockchain explorer. But the UTXO set, the UTXOs from all the way down to the Genesis block are there. They are kept and maintained even in the normal Kaspa nodes. There's a cryptographic proof proving all of these UTXOs are in the history of them all the way back to the Genesis block. So it's like everything is accounted for. The Kaspa is there and accounted for. And people like saying, oh, there's missing transactions. There's no missing transactions. Okay, you can't view the transactions on the blockchain explorer like Cas.fyi. You can't view them on there. But if you upload your UTXO on your own node and everything like that, you're going to be able to view that yourself. It basically, the blockchain explorer is being kept and maintained by whoever is maintaining these archival nodes. Like, someone wants to maintain an archival node and maybe the IRS wants to come looking for some old transactions, they may have to pay for the service of an archival node operator to get those transactions. Running an archival node is going to be like a business. It takes a lot of storage, but it's going to be profitable. For example, blockchain explorers, they gain a lot of web traffic, a lot of users. They throw some ads on there, and that's some profits for them to keep maintaining that. But yeah, man, I mean, Yonatan was saying, Dag Knight, final evolution. I quote that when I say that, okay? He said final evolution for the protocol, but still. It was just absolute fire. Yonatan was even going into like literal price predictions. Like, not really price predictions. He was being real careful about it. And I love how he was talking too. Like, Yonatan like literally took 20 seconds sometimes just to think, like gather his thoughts and then just spit the flames. That was so epic, honestly. I love that. So he was talking about not exactly a price prediction, but like some really interesting topic, comparing gold in the dollar, the US dollar, the market cap of the gold in US dollar, and saying gold is currently shares the same market cap as the dollar. That's pretty crazy when you think about it. Okay, gold is hard money. Dollar is like a lot of it's just printed out in debt, imaginary money. And Bitcoin is already aiming for and absolutely will eventually, in my opinion, like reach the market cap of gold as digital gold. It basically takes gold and makes it much more accessible and better store of value than gold itself, with a higher stock to flow ratio even, especially in the years to come. But Kaspa is digital cash. Kaspa is the only secure proof of work coin. It's the only coin basically on the same level as Bitcoin that can be digital cash. The only coin with the same security as Bitcoin that can be digital cash. And I will even argue Kaspa is even more secure than Bitcoin, especially when you look at it in the lens that if Kaspa had the same exact hash rate as Bitcoin, it would be even more secure and even more decentralized. Okay, that's a topic for another day. There's so many topics, so many things to go into, but Kaspa as digital cash could absolutely, in my opinion, I think Yonatan was even alluding to it, it could flip the dollar. Bitcoin could flip gold, or even just say Bitcoin could reach the market cap of gold. So gold is approximately 17 trillion. Now, I've seen estimates around 20 trillion. The US dollar, I've seen estimates around 20 trillion, even up to like 40 trillion. It's just like when there's so much imaginary money out there, it's like, how can you approximate that? The US dollar hasn't been audited for how many years? For 100 years? For how much? Like 50 to 100 years has not been audited, while Bitcoin gets audited every 10 minutes. Caspa gets audited every 100 milliseconds. That's what I love about it. If Bitcoin reaches 17 trillion market cap, and imagine, okay, gold currently has the same market cap as dollars. Imagine that Bitcoin has the same market cap as Caspa. Think about it. Think about it. Long-term, big picture, especially when Bitcoin is really struggling to maintain its security budget, especially right at that point, there can very much be that high tension and a lot of money can be going right into Kaspa, which has and maintains that security budget because of its whole ecosystem of smart contracts, vProgs, basically DeFi, okay, decentralized finance. It's not just money, but it's decentralized finance that so much you can do with this money as a data across all these different virtual machines, across all these different worlds of programmable layers, okay? So Kaspa is going to be absolutely, in my opinion, being able to rival Bitcoin long-term. I'm talking 10, 20, even 30 years, but basically 20 years, let's say 20 years. A little older than Bitcoin's current lifespan. That's where I'm looking big picture, and I think that's where Yonatan's looking big picture as well, being very theoretical and low-key about it, making a comparison with gold and dollars. Well, what's the comparison he's trying to refer to? He's referring to Bitcoin and Kaspa. It's pretty clear. So if you haven't already, take a look at this interview. I mean, it's 7.5 hours long. Ridiculously awesome, though. Like, the alpha is just unbelievable. Man, it is so funny, too. My gosh, he's like, yo, what is that? Vlad was like, hey, Yonatan, what is that? Is that like a cat or something? And then Yonatan just randomly picks up a turtle. He's like, oh, this thing? Oh, yeah, this is my pet turtle. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Don't tell me he has a pet turtle. And it's not just that, but he's like, it's called Bitcoin. That was like, I'm sure at that moment, he realized he messed up. So Yonatan has a pet turtle called Bitcoin. So of course, I'm just like refreshing pages, refreshing chats, like, all right, where's the meme coin? They kept on teasing it. Even Vlad was like, they're going to be making a meme coin. So of course, someone makes a meme coin called Slow. So there you go. It's like a super microcap, super degen, but I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun. That thing, I think it can actually survive, maybe, hopefully. I mean, it's just funny, okay? It's funny. And I saw someone like mentioning, oh no, it's going to like rival Nacho. Me sitting with my bag of Nacho, hoping nothing new like this would come up. Like, you gotta chill, man. You gotta chill. Nacho's the first fair launch meme coin on Kaspa, I'm telling them. Deploying real infrastructure, real revenue streams out there. Nothing will replace it. But it's not to say other memes can't complement it. That's just how the meme market goes, all right? So you gotta chill. Nacho's no problem, first and largest, it's there. It's at the top. It's like, you gotta believe. You gotta have faith in your investment. It's like, same thing with Kaspa. Like, there's a new proof of stake hype coin backed by venture capitals being released every other week, honestly. Not every other week, but like, every few months. You gotta like have some faith in what you're investing. You have to understand what you're investing in. Kaspa is literally one of a kind. It is the upgrade of an evolution of crypto. You have to understand that. Okay, once you understand Nacho, like, you're chill. Okay, you're chill. Slow, gonna be honest, kind of funny. So yeah, I literally had like few bucks of Kaspa, minted it. Why not? Like, I told my Patreons, I alerted them the moment I found it. And it was at like, it was like around 30% minted or something like that. I alerted my Patreons on my Discord. So you already know, I'm giving that alpha in my Patreon all the hecking time. Not just with that, but also other plays as well. Check out my Patreon if you want to. I give some good analysis. But that's what's up. Even Nacho right now is trending like on X. I don't see it right now, but it was just trending like not that long ago, 45 minutes ago. Pretty cool to see. It has a lot of traction because Binance keeps on like putting these low-key tweets and like, what the heck is that? That's like literally a furry Nacho eye. And it's kind of funny seeing all this. Yeah, literally hinting toward Kaspa, hinting toward Nacho. I think there's something there. Honestly, I do think there's something there. Yeah, good stuff. And looking at Kaspa's chart, couldn't be looking better. I'll be continuing to do videos. I want to do daily videos, but weekends, the schedule's a little tough, a little up in the air. But yeah, I mean, look at this trend. It's literally consolidating and couldn't be consolidating any better than it currently is. And it's so funny. I get texts from some friends and people I'm helping out, Patreon subscribers, that type of thing. And they're like really worried, especially on dips like this. They're like, oh my gosh, is it over? Like, what's happening with Kaspa? Literally, I get these texts. They're like extremely worried. It's like, is my investment safe? And I'm like, bruh, even before helping them get into Kaspa and all that, like I made sure I explained and all that stuff. And I'm like, you have to understand your investment and that traders are going to be trading. But this volatility is also extremely normal. And we're in a consolidation phase and all that. And I try to like, calm them down because geez, once they say that, it's so funny. Like one time they set it down here and then look what happened right after. Like literally market makers play on fear. It's even statistical. Right when the negative, the sentiment, the global sentiment of crypto or even some coins like Ethereum, once that sentiment drops to negative, boom, you see that's the bottom and then it goes back up. I also made a tweet and I shared it to my Patreons as well about liquidation zones in Ethereum. That got tapped. So Ethereum tapped down to its low liquidation level, which is down here, and boom, tap that liquidity. Once it taps that liquidity, it's just like, that's free money. So they're getting liquidated. So it's cheap money. It's cheap Ethereum. Exchanges buy that up. Or whoever, market makers, they buy that up and then blast off from there. So I'm not saying consolidation can't continue, but the trend is moving up. Okay, so Ethereum had its blast off, same with Bitcoin, but you look at something like Kaspa and other altcoins, like this couldn't be more fairly priced. This is the discount you want to find while being assured that we are entering a bull run. Like this is incredible. So this type of trend is going to quickly be, it's going to be moving up and up and up. And it's very rare for the price to be such fairly priced, with respect to its macro trend. So of course, if you haven't already, get yourself a Tangent wallet. Like, I mean, I got a question even, I keep getting questions like, hey, yo, is Caspium or Casware still safe from a Kaspa? Like, no, it's not. It's a hotware wallet. It's hotware, no. It's a hot wallet, okay? You need a cold wallet. And an emphasis on cold is because you don't use it for decentralized applications. You just use it to store your money, store your crypto. You don't use it, you don't interact with it other than just storing it. You store it, and if you want to actually use that crypto, you have to move it off of that cold wallet, put it somewhere else in a different wallet, like a hot wallet or whatever, and then use it. Put it on a different wallet if you want to use it. That's the whole point of a cold wallet. So be careful out there because there's people getting scammed for 100 million Bitcoin, $100 million worth of Bitcoin and stuff like that. Like, why are they holding so much money? It just doesn't make any sense. Storing so much money in a wallet, and it's not a cold wallet. So this is the absolute degen who deployed the slow token. It's like sketchy because like apparently his account got blocked and restricted, so he hasn't posted for like 5 or 6 days. But he's like, his alt account BT is the one that deployed it and got it his socials on. So it's kind of funny, kind of weird, kind of sus, but that's all part of crypto. So it started at a market cap of like $1,800 or like 21,000 Kaspa. So it's just like one of those super degen plays. You just throw a few bucks of spare cash at it, and you just never know what can happen. So that's what I did. That's what some Patreon subscribers did. It's chill. So, it is what it is. I could care less about it, but it's just all fun and games. It's cool too, seeing this poll, seeing how it's played out at 70% are Kaspa maxis. I'm laying it out. Like I'm talking about 100% in the Kaspa ecosystem, whether it's Kaspa and Kaspa Memecoins, just Kaspa, whatever it is, that's Kaspa maxi in my opinion. Okay, 100% in the Casper ecosystem. 70% of people here are here on YouTube as well. It's around 70% to 30%. So that's awesome to see so many maxis out there. Is just incredible, but there's still a lot of room. Okay, there's still a lot of people that are diversified and that are even trying to use that diversification to gain more Kaspa. So that's awesome. And yeah, Kaspa is always trending. Honestly, it's trending with Lightning. This is hilarious. The fact that it's trending with Lightning, it's people realizing like, oh my gosh, Bitcoin Lightning network is just trash. It is not anything what it should be, and Kaspa is everything that it was meant to be. Kaspa is literally what Bitcoin was meant to be. So this is just so funny stuff. Like I've been going ham on Twitter, and it's like, check this out. Even like homegrown grassroots marketing. This is on Glassnode. No, not Glassnode. This is on Lunar Crush, and we got Doc Kruger, this guy, literally, this is so funny what Luke was saying here. He's an honorary Caspian. He puts out the wrong answers, which elicits the right answers from the community. Like literally helping provide actual real value to the community. He's a real asset, a true gem. Doc Kruger, gotta love him. Yeah, love him or hate him, but he's doing work in the Casper ecosystem, spreading the word indirectly, involuntarily, whether he likes it or not. Every engagement is a positive engagement. Like every type of marketing is free marketing. Like, we're living rent free in so many Bitcoin maxis minds. I mean, how can you not like that? Good stuff going on with Kaspa, with Nacho, with the whole ecosystem. And oh my gosh, the next 5 months, I was like thrown back by that. And I think he said Dag Knight in about 12 months. So Dagnite, it's evolution. It's final evolution for Kaspa. Crazy. So price predictions, man, you know, I'll go into some more depth with what I think, because my last video with the like price prediction type thing, I was being extremely conservative, and maybe I wasn't as clear and emphasizing as much how conservative I was. Toward the end of the video, I said how much like a moderate and very bullish prediction would be for Kaspa. But I'm going to do another video on that to really break it down and what I think, because honestly, I like being conservative, but low key, you know, we're all trying to aim for the stars. So we have to aim for the stars, and we might just hit the moon. Stay bullish out there. This is just getting started, because so many people are extremely bullish. Like so many people, I asked the question, how long do you want to invest in Kaspa? And these people were like, and I'm specifying, I don't want years, not months. So maybe that just gave me the answers I was looking for. But a lot of people were saying 5+ years. A lot of people, okay? A lot of people were saying 10, 15, even 20 years. So a lot of people even were saying, I'm never going to sell my Kaspa. What I'm going to do is I'm going to borrow off of it. A lot of people, some real smart people, were saying, there's no point. Why would you sell it? Okay, when it reaches, especially when it reaches a lot of money, you have a lot of money, and you know Kaspa's never going to reach 5 cents ever again, for example, you borrow a few percent of your Kaspa holdings, and that's going to be very, very safe. And you're going to be able, that few percent of the Kaspa holdings that you borrow, that you use as collateral, like it's going to be safe, and you're going to be able to further invest that. And the ecosystem is going to keep growing and growing. So being able to borrow off the gains is actually really smart when done in a very safe way. You don't want to go crazy with that because there's risk involved, especially when the value goes down. But hey, there we are. Nacho trending. See it for yourself. Trending alongside YZY, which is an absolute rug pull done by the same insiders who did the whole Libra scam. Libra, you know, after the El Salvador president, I'm pretty sure. This was you know, Kanye West's whole thing. He probably was in on it too, probably dumped a whole bunch along with the insiders. I was highlighting, you invest in fair launched meme coins and you're good to go. Otherwise, you're going to be getting rug pulled by these type of people, these real bad actor degens. Literally, here, take a look at this. These are the people that you want to run from. Like this is bad. This is like, they're basically bragging about insider trading and drugging on everyone. They're not just doing it, but they're bragging about it. Extremely sketchy, and that we have to be prepared for these degens and scammers storming Kaspa when smart contracts drop almost like a week from now. So then Levendi was saying some good notes here about Moonbound. Basically, Moonbound is the safety net. Help prevent this nonsense that goes on at Pump.fun. It does this whole fair launch structure. And Moonbound is there to, like, you can't buy before anyone else. You can't have that type of insider trading. It's fair launched, and then the liquidity also gets locked on Zealous Swap. So it's like a really incredible partnership and dynamic. So yeah, of course, it doesn't mean that the project can't like still, I guess, rug in the sense that someone could still dump a whole ton of tokens. But like, there's going to be so much actual rug pools, like literally developers taking out liquidity from exchanges because, well, they can. And with smart contracts, anything can happen. So stick with tokens that are launched on Moonbound, in my opinion. Like, there's literally no reason to be risking otherwise. Just like right now with Heresy 20, like we're lucky that it's all inscription, so there's not a liquidity pool to rug. But with smart contracts, that's going to change. So stick with something like Moonbound. There's no insider trading. It mirrors the structure of a fair launch. That's the alpha. That's the alpha play. Pump.fun is worth a lot of money, and Moonbound can very much rival that and eventually flip it because of how safe the launches are. This is not like your typical launch pad. This is something completely new and unique and very, very safe and fair. And that's what Nacho is all about. And that's why I love Nacho. You got to choose Nacho. You don't have a token more fairly distributed, especially a meme coin, more fairly distributed than Nacho's token distribution. Nacho holding up pretty well. You see the holders, and it's just like, no, this is the largest holder, less than 1% of the supply. These are exchanges. You don't have a distribution more fairly, something more fairly distributed. Like the top 50 hold around 34% of the total supply of the meme coin. On the popular meme coins that are worth billions, the top 50 hold about 50% of the supply. Nacho's more fairly distributed at such a low market cap. As the market cap increases, it's going to further distribute these tokens to smaller wallets, further decentralizing the supply, further distributing it, making it even safer and safer. So any type of whale that exits is not going to just plummet the price. So this is what's up with Nacho. It's literally just like as rare a gem as Kaspa in my honest opinion. The chart for Nacho is also looking superb. I mean, I mentioned in my previous video, bounce off this deep macro support level, going back up. This is great to see. This is like basically the macro reversal that also Kaspa is experiencing. So this is going to keep riding it up and up and up and up. And if you haven't secured your bag of Nacho, well, there's no better time to do so, because once smart contracts drop and adoption starts like, actually unfolding, and Kaspa starts reaching like, all-time high, you already know Nacho is going to be doing the same, and you're going to be missing out on basically the leverage of Kaspa. Okay, use Nacho as you wish, but understand that it is the leverage, it is the derivative, and there's no token that is more fairly distributed and more that's actually building real infrastructure, real revenue streams. Yeah, there is some projects out there. I saw Casper has like proof of works. They want to have like a marketplace and all that, but I don't see adoption, really skyrocketing for that nearly as much as something like Moonbound. But it's all great. It's all great. Tokens that, especially meme coins, that are building infrastructure, especially for Kaspa, to foster growth on Kaspa. That's what it's all about, because everything is just to, drive Kaspa adoption. That's the whole point of Nacho. Ashton, one of the creators of Nacho, that's what he was talking about with Tangem in his interview with Tangem not that long ago. That's the whole point of what he and other creators wanted to do with Nacho. Like even before Nacho, they wanted to think about like how can they actually like do something meaningful to foster growth and development within Kaspa, to help power Kaspa, help drive adoption. And they were thinking, hey, we can do this with a meme coin. We could actually build things and do a really cool decentralized community-driven innovation. And that's exactly what Nacho is all about. So you already know, max exposure with Nacho, but Kaspa is as fast as the internet, enhancing Bitcoin security and decentralization. I'm like the only one that's really like, really emphasizing these values, because it's honestly true. And it's not just me, but look at like the early research from Yonatan and his advisor. Like they literally came to conclusion that Kaspa at 1 BPS, this was their research on fast money grows on trees, that this protocol for Bitcoin, which is Kaspa at 1 BPS, would enhance, and I quote, enhance Bitcoin security. And that's exactly what it does. It doesn't need to wait 10 minutes to make a transaction secure. It doesn't need to wait a finality of 1 hour. Kaspa just needs to wait 10 seconds. Yonatan was saying it's about 10, 12 seconds instead of waiting an hour. He's going to go into depth. He's going to release like a lot more research and publications like on that finality, on the security, the full security of Kaspa. A lot of really interesting things were talked about, and unfortunately I didn't capture the whole 7.5 hours. I probably missed like 30 minutes here, 30 minutes there, but I did get the vast majority of it, so that was awesome that I was able to. I just had it in the background. I was like going back a lot. I was fast forwarding, even I was doing like ×2 speed to catch up. It was a fun time. It was a fun day, and I was really looking forward to it. I kept on advertising it on Twitter, here on X, and really awesome stuff. Like honestly, I'm so excited, and if you aren't excited right now about Kaspa, I don't know what to tell you. Okay, so here's Bitcoin dominance. It's headed down. Okay, yeah, there might be a little bit of a pump back here. Might have to retest a little bit, but it's absolutely headed downward. Like this is even going faster than expected downward. Yeah, but we'll see. We'll see how it works out. We'll see how it plays out. But the whole trend is headed down for Bitcoin dominance, and that's the signal for altcoin season. So if you don't have your Kaspa yet, get your Kaspa, secure it with Tangem, or buy it with Kraken. I always promote Kraken as well. I have the link in the description. Use it to get $75 of Kraken as a new user. Okay, geographic restrictions apply. I had someone that tried getting it like in India or something like that, or South Africa. They couldn't get it, so that really stinks. But it definitely should work for US citizens. It should work for Europeans. I'm not exactly sure, but Kraken is an international exchange. I mean, I have so much alpha to drop as well, like actual alpha, that I'm going to release in some more videos. I'm so excited and can't wait to do it. Like, talking about exchanges, talking about airdrops, talking about some revenue streams, all that exciting things and applications for Kaspa and ecosystem. Good stuff coming. Subscribe, like, comment, and catch you on the next one.